There is a thin divide between what is perceived as spiritual and paranormal, for they are forever entwined throughout time. Traveling within the history of the world, we can find examples of spirituality that involves everything from magic, spirits, gods and goddesses, and seers or people said to be able to talk to the dead. We all have our belief systems and we all have our own truths. So come sit with Holly Jenkins and myself as we talk about all that and more. Welcome to Spiritually Paranormal. Whoa! Hello, everybody. Another week. Oh, and of course, Mango's going to start screaming now. He's been all quiet all day.
Yeah, he was quiet.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's been really quiet. But the storm's got him all stirred up. It's kind of moving through now, so that's a good thing anyway.
Yeah.
So, hello from Lee in Illinois. Hi, how are you guys? And if you're in Facebook, to the
Ellen, Lee, and some Facebook user. Ta-da! I think that must be Ruth.
Yeah,
is she under her fake profile?
I think she is. Wow, I got a breath of fresh air. The storm. Let's see. This is the problem. I mean, we had this thing rolling in, and it was really a lot of energy when you went outside, and the energy from last night is still kind of lingering with that. With the full moon, that sturgeon full moon, it was huge. It looked like a cookie, like you could reach up and grab it.
Yeah.
So I didn't fall asleep till well after 3:30. There was just too much energy. And I don't like full moons to begin with because that happens. But last night was really bad. And so when I got up this morning after a few hours sleep, all these storms started running, which charges the atmosphere and the environment. And I went outside and it was just crazy. And then, well, I was just talking to you before, it was just, I couldn't even see across anything. I couldn't even see my shed out in the back of my house. So now it's gone. Poof, it's gone.
Hey, Chloe.
Oh. Oh, that's not nice. They're good. They're trying to be good.
They're trying to be.
Mulan's even in here yelling because she don't like storms either. So
that's like saying that Michaela's dog Ghost, the big husky, like he tries to be good. No, he doesn't. Never tries to be good. He's so rotten.
I think sometimes they all are. I actually locked the toddler up because he's been following me around the house again all day today. So I had him out front with me, and then I brought him back in here. And not going to deal with you. Get in the cage. That's it. So why don't we start? Besides saying hi to everybody that's watching or watching in the future, why don't you tell everybody what book you're working on now, and then I'll show you what I
will. The book I'm working on. My grandson Leo. He is 7. They're about to start school next week. They've been homeschooled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Next week his first day of school. He's been begging me to write a book about the monster under the bed. So I'm like, it's not going to be the book he expects. I'm putting a few little twists and turns in it to make it a little different. So that's what I'm working on.
Monster in the Closet coming out into the book?
What?
That monster in the closet that you saw as a kid, is that coming into the book?
No. It's just the monster under the bed. But there are other monsters, but they're from the world under the bed.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He'll be happy. Finally, he can leave me alone. Because all the books I've written, he's like, yeah, but have you done the monster under the bed yet, Grandma? I'm like, don't give me attitude, little boy. Don't give me attitude. Rotten kid.
Yeah, I hear that.
Just do it. He's so bossy. Just do it, Grandma. Just do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wonder where the boss came from.
I have no idea.
That's kind of genetic, I would think. Yeah, I think
I don't know what you're talking about. It can't be from me.
Okay.
I'm not bossy. Shut up, Ruth. Shut up, Ellen.
I was going to say, I think you were bossing your husband the other day when you were saying, go ahead. Yeah, I saw that. I was going to stick up for him because I felt a little bad. Not a lot, but a little bad.
Well,
All
you
right.
know, he's from England and he's not used to country life. And when I tell him
Country life with Holly.
yeah, there's country life, then there's life period with me. So when I tell him to do something, it never ever fails. He will purposely not do what I told him. He tries to do it his own way. And I'll let him. Also, then when he realizes he should have done it the way I said, I give him shit about it. Of course, who wouldn't? I have to remind him who's boss.
Yeah, he was cute. He was cute. I felt bad. It was like, yeah, you were, but he didn't want to say the words. You were right.
You should not feel bad for him. He is such a bullshitter. I am forever handing him a napkin saying, "Here, love, you got a little bullshit right here on your mouth. You need to wipe it off."
Well,
Not poor Bob. Not poor Bob. No. He gives just as good as he gets. Trust me. Every day.
I'll bet.
He's rotten. Him and that dog, both of them are so rotten.
Animals can be that way, though. Animals.
Oh, and this husky, you know, and he's still a puppy. He's not 2 yet.
Huskies are crazy anyway. My brother used to have them and Malamutes, and I take a Malamute over a Husky any day because they're a little more mellow than Malamutes. But Huskies, he was forever calling, "Oh my God, the dog out again. Can you put it out everywhere?" It's like, yeah. Then the dog learned how to get to the Pet Supplies Plus, like half a mile away from him, like where he lived, and it was on a big road here, like a 4 lanes each side, but it was just a road. And he'd run down, and he knew he'd stand on the doormat to open the door, and he'd go in and he'd sit in front of the cashiers, and they actually wound up taking my brother's phone number and said, "Yep, he's here again." So they loved him, but it was
if
like,
we had a pet store near enough, he would be there daily. He already tries to sneak out all the time. Ruth told me not to pick on Ghost. Ghost picks on me. This is the thing. He's such a jealous dog. Like when the boys come in my room and they're coming my way to give me hugs, he will jump up and get between me and them because they don't get hugs. He gets hugs.
Yep.
He has to have all the attention.
That's how it happens when I have Phoenix in the front room with me, but I have him on my top of my walker, and I just started putting him on the perch. And then Mulan will get up on the chair I'm sitting in, and she'll wedge her way in between the two of us, and he gets mad, and he'll lean over to try to get her to move. He hasn't hurt her, but then she'll turn around and ninja smack him because she's got no claws. She's only like, I think she's 7 or 6 pounds. She's very tiny. So it's like, yeah, like, guys, you know, you each have me. Get on the other arm of the chair, you know. They always seek that attention. Well, so you've been writing, and like I told you a little bit before, I have got 1 chapter done, and I've offed it, so I'm getting there. But what I'm also trying to do, and this has kind of been a place that I've been stuck in, because I have had all this garbage go on, and I'm finally getting kind of clear enough and feeling well enough that I know I'm not putting ooky energy and stuff. So I'm trying to finish the Spirit Walkers I have. I just put this one on a hoop.
Ooh.
This is wolf. Okay.
Don't be showing me the wolf.
Yeah, well, it's not done yet.
That's going to be for me. That has to be mine.
I got to put bells and stuff on it yet. Somebody's in my driveway. I don't know who
I like bells. I like sparkly things and bells and stuff.
Well, this is kind of unique because this
You're just a tease, lady. You're just a freaking tease.
Well, this happened, and I really kind of like this one a lot.
Let's see. Siri, give me directions to Bear's house to whoop her ass.
This one here is Mother.
Oh, yeah.
I love this one.
Yeah, I like the colors.
Yeah, and the hat on the top of her head.
Oh, that is so cute.
Yeah, so that one I haven't complete. I've got to spray it yet. Then I've got the deer.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I love.
I like him.
Hello, who's coming up my drive?
Oh, it ain't me to whoop your butt.
Well, yeah. Well, you're gonna have to hold on. I gotta go get something.
All right.
Delivery.
I'll keep everyone entertained. Let's watch Bear waddle off. Bless it. Hey, everybody. Let's see who just showed up. Shirley, Karen, Sue, Angela. Anybody else? That's it. That's all I saw coming in. Hey, everybody. So does anybody have any questions for us while Bear's out trying to find out who showed up? Verified. Hello. No questions? Really? Next week, there's going to be a surprise on next week's show that I can't talk about. I can't tell any of you. It's a big secret, but you're going to have to tune in next week for the surprise. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be fun. I'm all right. Just had oral surgery on Monday, 4 hours of oral surgery. So I'm still a bit swollen and sore. What happened?
Oh, Amazon now has their own people up here. This was a first. Yeah. Usually, well, it hasn't been in this area because I'm like remote like you are. And usually it's UPS or FedEx or the mail. And she's actually working for Amazon. She got an Amazon. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got a couple more I want to show you.
Oh, yeah.
This one is a boss. This is actually Michael. Archangel Michael.
I like that one. That one's pretty.
Yeah. And this was really difficult to paint because I could only do a little bit at a time because the energy was so high. And then I am working on a salmon, which is not completed yet, but that'll be on.
Oh, he's cool.
Yeah, that'll be on a dream catcher. I've just got to do some more stuff to it. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
I've got the raven one that you made me is by my attic door. That is, so it's right in the living room, right as you get ready to go up the stairs.
That's cool. Well, I've got these to finish, and then once I do that, I'll be starting to be able to make them again because they won't. You make a batch, I send them to the kilns, I get kilned, then I have to complete them, or they won't let me do more. And then they constantly get into my head, and it's like, hurry up, hurry up. So this was actually, you're ready to go, so go ahead and do it. So that's what I've been doing, trying to get them done anyway. And I got 2 of those bowls. I have raven bowls that I've been doing. Yeah. And I've got a hummingbird and 1 more raven that's been to the kilns, but I got to glaze them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the hummingbbird's really cool. It's a very small bowl with a hummingbird and a daisy on it. I'm happy. I'm really excited about doing them again because I really.
You better hide all your stuff when I come up to see you because I want to leave with all of it.
Yeah, that's what usually happens when people come up. So
yeah, I've been wanting to paint, but I'm trying to get to a point where I'm not writing stories for a minute before I paint. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I actually asked them to slow down so I could kind of get in that rhythm of it again because, yeah, I am feeling better, but I still have issues with being able to sit, and that's because of where they fixed my spine. They straightened it, which crushed the stuff below it. So I've got stuff that I'm dealing with that, and I get too tired. And I don't know if you feel the same way after COVID. There's still stuff where I have exhaustion.
Every day, sometimes it feels like there's something new that just pops up. Like, where the heck did that come from? Why am I now feeling that way? Why is that hurting? I've not done anything to hurt myself. Why is that hurting? Yeah.
My big thing is my voice. Now, I know you were in the hospital with the respiratory issues. I did not have respiratory issues, but I've had throat issues. And last year had to go down and have that cyst taken out of my throat. And they were worried about it, but it was just like fluid or whatever. So, and that's all been after COVID. And I'm just, not happy with it.
Well, not only did I have COVID and pneumonia, I had sepsis on top of that.
Yeah, that's like we were quite concerned.
I was pretty darn sick when the doctor came in and first thing asked me, did I want them to do everything they could to save me? I knew it was serious.
Well, Ruth and I, when you got you were streaming to tell everybody what was going on. And her and I, if we had been sitting next to each other, we would have been looking at each other. I know that for a fact. And her and I said the same thing to each other. Was like, what the heck is she doing? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, but people were blowing me up left and right, and I was like, it's easier to tell everybody at once that's out there than because I didn't even have the energy hardly to even pick up my phone. That's how weak I was and how bad it was. It was terrible.
Not good thing. All right, so today.
So Sue has some questions.
Okay.
Sue says, when did you first realize you were seeing spirits? And then when did you see or hear them first? I think that's all of her questions. Let's see. Yeah. So when did you first did you first see them or hear them? And when was that?
Earliest memory for me was like 4 years old. And my parents knew I could see and I could hear them. So it was like, okay. And I could see them. My grandmother, actually, I had those 3 people that I've talked about before. The spirits that came in was an older woman, a younger woman, and a younger man. Like the woman was maybe in her 50s and the other gal was maybe in her 30s and the young man was in his like late 20s. And they were not cool. I did not like them. But they came and it was like a precursor that somebody was going to die.
Yeah.
It was always a precursor to when somebody was going to die. And then my grandmother came after she died, and she died in 1973. And she came 3 days after she died because it was at Christmas time and we hadn't buried her yet. And
I did not ever confuse them with imaginary friends or imaginary anything. No,
but I think with the imaginary friends, I think what that is society telling kids like they're kids, especially.
But it's not real. It's imaginary. Right. Yeah, that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Yeah.
But I never, it was at my grandmother's house and I was probably about 4. And when I would spend the night with my grandmother, her house was a gun shack back in the Civil War. And, there was, as soon as it got dark, I would close all the curtains because I could feel negative presence outside. Mm-hmm. I didn't hear anything. I saw things, and I saw something that felt very evil on her at the back of her kitchen. I'd jump up and lock that kitchen door.
What state was that in?
Tennessee.
Okay, yeah.
In Chattanooga, Tennessee, right near the battlefield, the Chickamauga battlefield, not too far from there. So, and then in her bedroom, every single night, I think they were angels. They were protectors. They would come out and circle the bed because it'd be man, woman, and they would completely circle. You couldn't see between them. They were side by side and circled the whole bed.
Well, that's cool. I mean, if you think about it.
It wasn't cool to me. I was terrified.
The fact that they came and you saw them and they were protecting you, that's really cool. And
I didn't realize that until I got much older. I didn't know what it was. But when I got older, I realized they were protecting us from what all the other stuff was while we slept.
Well, and that leads me to one of the topics that I really wanted to get into a little bit tonight with spirit, is the fact that when you see what they call on TV shadow people, doesn't mean that they're nasty. And my logic with that, and I've seen shadows, you've seen them, Cripe, you've seen them in your house. I've seen them in my house, but it's the intent and where you're at. Of course, if you're in a prison that's been closed down, that was like a max security prison where they had the worst of the worst, and you go in and ghost investigate it. Yeah, dark spirits in there, I would think would be nasty because
not necessarily dark, but some dark, but also tormented and tortured souls as well.
Right.
That not necessarily that they're evil, but they are disturbed.
They're not happy.
No, they're not happy, but they've got some issues. They've got some baggage.
Well, and that's the same way. Like I see them when they go into the mental asylums, right?
Baggage, a lot of baggage.
When people died, they were there they had
They were tortured.
yeah, tortured and abused and raped and beat and
No.
doing all that kind of stuff. So when you walk in there, I'm not expecting to have a greeting like, hey, how are you? Thanks for coming to see us. But with that said, when you're home or when you're out in about around your community and you see things, it doesn't always mean that they're dark energies, meaning bad energies or demons or whatever. They can use energy to be seen. And I think sometimes that's as far as they can get is a shadow. And I think that's where the entertainment industry, the TV programs like, Zach Bagans and that, they've been on for like 20 some years. And it's like, the good teams that are there, you'll see and you'll know, and they'll know the difference too. But like he goes in certain shows like that, they go in and they talk nothing but down, or they're provoking. If you want something in your house that's not good, just provoke. I mean, that's the stupidest thing you can do.
It is really stupid. Yeah, don't provoke them because, there's no amount of sage or smudge or cleansing or telling them to freaking go to the light that's going to help you as far as that spirit goes. And to say, for some people to say, well, if you don't believe in it, it can't hurt you. Yeah. It's energy. It is energy, and it can.
Well, and a lot of like some of the shows that are on, because this is what people relate to because they watch them. Some of them that get cases for homes or places of business, a lot of them, if you watch, they're on the land. The land had a lot of blood spread on it and a lot of nasty stuff, they're just finding out new things around the world that's going to kind of reset history on their end. And they're starting to begin to explain when we really started as humans is farther back than they thought. So you have all this ancient stuff. Now I'm going to tell you, because this was a finale night, I watched Skinwalker last night.
But I told you about that.
I know, but it's done. It's over for the year. So, but what they found, and they were actually talking about as well. They had LiDAR radar go across the property, and LiDAR is a way it shoots down like X-rays, like you're taking an X-ray of a body. It kind of works the way an MRI would, and it shoots down like energy to the ground, and then it bounces back up, and it forms, all these pixels, and it forms a map of what's there. Well, between what they found this year by drilling, they had metal shards come out of the earth on the mesa where they're at. The Native American drummers that drummed in the petroglyph rock formation lit up. And now with the LiDAR, there's tunnels underneath Utah, not just the ranch, under Utah. And they're made of the same stuff that NASA uses to fly to outer space. And some of it right now is being tested for cloaking.
For what?
Military cloaking. So they cloak the planes so you can't see them. That's not far off. And this is what's under the ground, okay? They found it. It's maybe not man-made, but what they did find out through geology was that it's ancient, like way long ago, ancient, like before we were probably here, ancient. So that kind of struck me as extremely interesting, that you can see spirit, and then sometimes we see things that could be what they call them, with grays, aliens, like I don't know, but the energy that comes in, the show that was after it, and this is all fascinating to me because it works with what we see and how we see things. And there was a gentleman on, and he'd been made a fool of for years and years. His family was always harassed because he swore he saw UFOs, and he thought he was only gone for like a couple minutes. And his son said, "We've been looking for you for a day and a half." Like, they were out in the woods hunting or fishing or something, and he just disappeared. Well, now he can sit there and he can literally, and they proved it. They put a EMG, hooked them up to or not EMG, EEG for your brain waves.
Right.
And they hooked it up to a computer, and they stepped away from him and they said out there, you do what you do. And he called them in. Like he could commute. I mean, and they saw the brainwave activity. Just bizarre, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he'd put his hands up and he'd literally call them in, and like within 2 minutes, they'd be there, like right there, like in the woods or just above the woods. So I look at this and I wonder what our brains doing what we do, how does that work? Does it work differently? Does it work similar to what this gentleman has? It ponder, you know, I mean, that's pretty bizarre. Wouldn't it be cool to kind of check that out and see?
Oh, it would totally. This is the thing that I try to explain to people that ask, you know, I had a friend a long time ago ask me, why can I see things that other people can't do? One thing I say is, imagine your mind is an endless hallway of doors. Some of those doors are open, some of those doors are closed, some of those doors are invisible. You don't even know they're there.
Right.
My doors are open. But the thing is, you have to be careful. Once you open a door, you can't close that door back. It's open. And another thing is, people that want to see spirits, they're trying to physically see them instead of spiritually seeing and experiencing those spirits. You have to use, because everything is energy. You have to see them and sense them and hear them with your energy, not your physical self. And it's very hard for a lot of people to detach from the physical self.
Yeah, because it's fear. It's like a fear. It's protection. It's one of the groups that I got put in with Kay's group. They're all mediums, but they're all like psychics, you know, whatever the labels are, right? And they're all at different levels. And somebody wrote yesterday, and I was like, what are you saying? She actually saw a spirit for the first time. She experienced it where she could hear it, see it, and she went to a friend of hers to tell her about it, and it wound up being that friend's grandfather. And she was able to give validating information. And her question was, yeah, I saw it, but what do you do with that? What's the message? I said, oh my God, you gave her the message. She didn't even expect it. You gave her that message, and that probably gave her more joy than you'll ever know. Like, it doesn't have to be, everybody's at different levels with it. Everybody sees it differently. Sometimes they show us stories. Sometimes they step up and walk in. Sometimes they jump into you, which I am not a fan of. And I tell them to get out really quick. The last time I did it, the guy that did it had died by having a stroke. And I was like, oh my God. And I could feel it. And you don't want them to do that. So you have to work and prepare and, you know, get mentors, you know, to help you. You can learn good stuff or stuff that doesn't resonate for you, but it takes practice to hone in. And sometimes with people, especially like yourself, you're working, somebody that would be working in a regular job, that's really difficult sometimes to balance, right?
Yeah, you have to kind of, some people get so paranoid. They think they know what you do, and they think you're constantly reading them, or you're constantly looking for their spirits or their angels or whatever it may be around them. And you're not. No, because that's too much to take in on a regular basis. So you have to train yourself how to kind of flip that switch and just turn it off. And when a spirit wants you to see them and they want to deliver a message, they bypass that switch.
Yeah. And Sue, this is a really good point. Tesla claimed the aliens and psychic connection. They showed him how to make things. Well, wasn't it Casey, of course I can't think of his name. Casey that did all the predictions back like in the 20s, 30s, or 40s, like way back, and he would go into a state of meditation or that in between where he wasn't really, and he would just start talking and telling people, and they were writing it all down. And that's part of it, I guess. It's part of the connection. Well, it's like people walking in, they get that sensation the phone's going to ring. Or, oh, somebody's going to be at my door, and they know ahead of time. That's part of your intuition. Intuition can be strong, and it can be a psychic or, whatever you want to call it.
Like somebody pops into your mind, and you have to call them or touch base with them in some way, fashion, or form.
Yeah, it's a lot some days, and some people say, "Well, what am I going to do when I call them?" Tell them, right? I mean,
Ruth says sometimes spirit teases you with riddles, makes a person do the actual work.
Is she implying something with that statement?
I don't know. I don't really know what Ruth is on about. I just don't.
Hey, Ruth, how's your eye? Oh, what? You walked into a mirror on a truck? Oh, yeah. How is it?
She is a brat.
Yeah, I know she is. But it's interesting, and it's also interesting when spirit comes through in different ways. Sometimes they connect with people because this is how they allow it. Like people, especially people that are kind of knew they had a gift, but they're like older now and they want to kind of hone into it. Sometimes you'll be shown photographs or clips, or you'll hear things. The other day I kept smelling smoke in the house. Like I got up in the morning, I was like, who's like kind of like pipes tobacco, but then it would cross, and I'm thinking, and I actually walked outside. Nobody was outside. There was no smoke outside from across the lake from Canada or anything. And then the person that I had an appointment with later that day, it came back again, right, really strong. So I just told her, I go, by the way, I'm smelling smoke, and then I'm holding my chest. I could feel like a chest, and it wound up, yes, it was somebody that just recently passed, and she just got validation for that, and that's crazy. Like, do they have to come the week before and start doing that? I mean, can't they just, it's like, it's a lot some days. It's a lot.
It is a lot. Sue says, do you think your gifts are heightened intuition that we can all learn to enhance? Yes, I do. I think if you practice meditation, I say it at the end of every video, cleanse your space, do your freaking meditations. If you practice meditation, you got to find a meditation that works for you. People say all the time, we talked about this last week, where people say, I can't meditate. Yes, you can. You do it without even realize you're doing it.
Yeah, it's like, daydreaming. That's a form of meditation.
Right. And it's not emptying the mind. It's stopping the monkey brain, where you're not thinking about 10,000 things at once, but you're focusing on a task. When you're focusing on that one task, that's why guided meditation is really good for most people, because if you're listening to what that person is telling you and you're actually doing what they're saying to do, you're not thinking about your bills and what's going on, what happened 10 years ago, what's going to happen in the next 10 years. You're not thinking about all that. You are focusing on that task, and you are in a meditative state.
And that's actually the guy that was calling in the UFOs. That's what he was in. This is what his brain showed. He was in a meditation. Excuse me, hiccups again. One of the things about meditation, and I actually learned how to meditate with Rosemary Altea, and this is back in the 80s when she was first coming out. She wrote the book, The Eagle and the Rose, and her guide was a Native American, and still is to this day, Indian. And it was a learning curve, but she did tapes, right? And she talked, and at that time it was cassettes, so you put it in, you put it on, and you just listen to her, and it had water, like stream water running down you in behind her, ambient noise, and that taught me how to meditate. And now I can sort of just sit there and zone out. That's another way of doing it, is just sit there and just kind of, I need a moment, and you just zone out. And it comes. I even have certain music, and I'm sure you do too, that I can play, and automatically I go into a waking dream state. been using a lot of the Gregorian chants. Patrick
I
Link.
love tuning into the different frequencies, the different sound frequencies.
Yeah, we were talking about frequencies last week a little bit, and I'm still kind of playing
They're
with
all in the Sacred Steps journal. There's also 7 simple meditations in that journal as well.
Yeah, and that's why I always laugh when people say, "Oh, I can't meditate." And like Ruth always says, "I can't dream." I said, "No, it's not that you can't dream. You're dreaming, but you don't remember it when you wake up."
Right. Because you dream at different levels of sleep, and if you're dreaming during a deep sleep, you're not going to remember those dreams.
Well, and that's another place too for people that are just starting to work with their gifts. Intuition, everybody, we're all born with this ability. It's just society puts it off, like our invisible friends or whatever when we were kids. And oh, you don't want to tell people that because they think you're crazy. That's what I grew up with. It was like, oh, you don't want to tell people that. And I did. I had some family that was scared. I
tell people so they know I'm crazy.
Well, yeah, but it's like, somebody asked me the other day, well, what do you think about like people, the really good mediums like Teresa Caputo and Tyler Henry? And I said, oh, they're all very good at what they do. I said, I'm not saying that. I've watched her because you kind of learn. You can learn things from them, but I just can't see this. It's made into something, and that's what we were also talking about in one of my groups the other day. Was what is your purpose for doing this? And like I said to this one girl that said she got that message, and I said, you're already doing it. So why are you being so hard on yourself? And I don't think people realize that because we can do stuff if you allow it to occur. And that's the big thing. So, yeah. And again, okay. So dark spirits. And I kind of always laugh at this too, because there's people that we're going to get, we're going to go out and defeat all the dark spirits and blah, blah. That's not how it works either, and I laugh because you can tell if you walk somewhere and you have your little spidey senses come up. It's like if you're walking into a bad situation, right? You get that that spidey senses start tingling, and you can always know. And this is why, like Katrina Weidman, I love her. She's very on point and then been doing this for so long. She can walk in and immediately, and so can Keza, you can tell, right, that there's something not good here. And that's a whole different thing. But if people that are trying to communicate with spirit, there's just so many different ways you can do. I don't recommend apps for your phone.
No.
Don't recommend it. Don't recommend it at all. I actually... You
need to use your own energy. You tap into your own energy and doing meditations and just
get something. I'll be right back.
Trusting what you sense, trusting what you feel. That is step 1. The more you trust that and follow that, the better you're going to get. And the more messages you're going to get, the more visits you're going to get, the more you're going to see, the more you're going to hear, and what other sense?
Well, I have used, and I'm going to show it to you, and I have used these because they are, tell how long I haven't used it. I'm not doing much.
Don't trust the apps, Ruth.
Yeah, yeah, they're not any good. Because, and also it can be like whoever made it programmed it to do stuff or have certain words, and yeah, I just don't do that. Now this here, okay, this is kind of really cool. I got this from, oops, everything's backwards. I gotta remember that. This is a spirit box, and what it does is you can set it for however you want. And it goes in rapid, like spirit, they've got little ones on, holy crap, my head today, I'll tell you. Little ones that are handheld on Amazon, you can find them. But this is actually like a portal. Okay, this is what you'll see on TV, and it's portal. And what it does is it sweeps radio frequencies. And I mean, I'm telling you, they go like this. So it's not like just stopping on one station. So it's changing. I think it's like I can do like 450 in 2 seconds going back and forth. And what it does is spirit is said to grab that energy and use that electric from that to help hear them.
Right.
Right. Are they here again, Miss Pip? Are they here again? She sees something. So I use those, and the guy I got it from is now a friend of mine. I've got a couple of these, and I got them from, well, he's on eBay too, but he's over in England, and this is what he does. He makes them, and they're fairly, I mean, that one of them was $125, but if it's what you do, it's really kind of cool. The only thing I have a problem with is if people get addicted to them because they want to hear things. That bothers me a little bit.
That's a little bit too much.
But we've had some really cool stuff come through. This year in the fall, I want to go to the cemetery where my birth mom and her husband were buried, and Taylor's grandma and grandpa, because I want to sit with them and I want to see what's going to happen. So there's just different things, and yeah, I believe they can connect. I've had, well, you know, Robin Cesario, and when she lost her twin adult boys, we had a smaller one, and my friend Julie was up here, Taylor's fairy godmother, and she had a smaller one. This is when they were first coming out a number of years back, and we sat in the front room on Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's. Taylor was still living here, and it came through, and it was Danny and Joe, and they gave, like, I was sitting there and I thought, did that thing just say what I thought it did? And Julie was writing, and sure enough, that's what it had, a message for her mother, and it was his voice, and I knew him, so I was like looking at this, but it was very clear. But when you consider that spirit is going back and forth with this energy of the radio scans, that's pretty amazing. Also had my daughter's great aunt came through, who we were all really close with, and she came through, and then we asked it, and this is when Taylor said, oh no, I'm not staying here. We were in the front room, and it went across, and I asked it, do you know who's here? Who just walked into the room? And it said Taylor.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was one of the boys, and she said, did that just say my name? And we looked at her and said, yeah. That's it, I'm done. And she walked out of the room. So, yeah, some of the tools that they have out now, some of the tech, yeah, but I wouldn't count on the phone app. So they're not.
No, can't trust it. You don't want to do that. Well, trust yourself before you trust anything else. And the thing is, the more you practice the meditation, the more you practice, the better you get. But people want to just immediately say, I can't do that, or I don't have time, or blah, blah, blah. Or they can't do it because they keep getting distracted by outside noise. Get some headphones. Get some earbuds.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool thing to do. You put on noise canceling, right? Yep. Headphones, and you can plug into these portals or these spirit boxes, and somebody can sit and talk to spirit, even like in another room. You can't see them, and you can hear what's being said. So everything that you hear, you can write down or say verbally, but you don't know what your person that's with you is asking. So that's also
the bird is talking over you. He's too close to the mic.
Go. She's way away. She's just screaming and looking up in the air. So somebody's here. I can't. There's nothing I can do about that. You tell them I'll go away. Yeah, they're all looking up in the air. That's why Pip went nuts. They're not looking at me. And Pip's doing this. When she gets really excited, she has this nervous twitch.
Yeah.
So she's twitching. So anyway, you need to stop, dude. Stop. Tell them you now. Yeah, tell them. Anyhow, so yeah, there's a lot of different ways to see and judge spirit. And if it's something you don't want, like if there's a problem in a place that you walk into or you're staying at or something, and you don't want to be there, leave. Just leave.
I'll tell you one of the places, whenever we went to Savannah, woo, Lord, you can feel that the energy in Savannah is thick. When I say thick, it's like a brick wall thick. It is so thick. But I love that place.
Well, I love it, but it's goes back to plantation days. It goes back to slave days, and I think that's a lot of stuff that we hear. I think it's, and of course, this is just my opinion, but it's like I feel when I was down there, and I love Georgia. There's so many different spots in Georgia, and Savannah, all those type of places. But it's like they're trapped, I think, and I think people. For me, and I don't know how you think of it, but when I feel that a spirit is trapped, it's not a matter of just saying, go, be free. It's because they're still there because either of the trauma that's keeping them there or something else that needs to address. And then sometimes it's just because they like being there.
Right. That's their place. That's what they want to do. That's where they want to be. So they still, because you have free will. As a spirit, you get to do what you want to do. You get to be where you want to be. You can stay in the spirit world as long as you want. You don't have to reincarnate right away or ever.
Yeah. And again, that's our truths. That's how we've been shown it is. That's how we've interpreted what's given to us, and that's what
I'm going to have some fun haunting the crap out of people when I go. I'm just going to say, I am going to have a blast. I'm not coming back into this life for a while, for a minute. I'm going to enjoy haunting and messing with people on such a large scale. Ain't nobody ever seen nothing like it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you also for everybody that's listening, it's like I can tell you for sure people that have promised me that have passed, they are back. I mean, yeah. And it's like, it's like a lot some days. And it's like one of them keeps doing the same stuff that she did when she was alive. And it's like always in my business. Always in my business. So, yeah, you don't know who that is. I'm sure you don't. But
I have no idea. No.
What's really interesting is when her daughter comes up here, it even rapes up right top, goes right ranting, raging right up to the top, that energy level. And one time I actually saw her walking behind her daughter as her daughter was walking through the kitchen to go get something in the other room. And she just turned around me and stuck her tongue out. And she was just walking behind Brienne. And it was like, people, believe me, if you do that, you coming back. You can come back if you want.
I'll be back, but not in a physical form. I am going to mess with so many people. Ooh, I cannot wait.
Oh, this is cool. Now I've heard this about Liverpool, actually because that's where Sean and Bex live, and they actually live in a gatehouse in front of the cemetery. So I'm aware of all this, and it is, and the catacombs there. I remember also they had them, but they were during World War I and World War II. So people were in those catacombs also, not just being, skeletons from a long time ago, but because they were down there during the war. And I've even seen some of the shows that have gone there that are good, and you can't explain how they're getting stuff like on the portal or, on the SLS, which is a FLIR camera that you see just heat and cold show up and then things show up. It's different. And that's really not a place to me. And I get it, because it's the entertainment world. But to me, I don't need to go to a place that's got bad juju.
No.
That's why I don't like going. We were talking last week about, or no, maybe that was somebody in my group. They said they went to a place that had a lot of antiques and history from the Chicago mobs, and it's literally a mob museum. So they've got pieces that these people carried, guns that they used, whiskey containers, beer.
In Savannah, we went through a prohibition museum where my husband proceeded to get tipsy in the prohibition. He was the only person in history. I'm like, look, because I wouldn't drink my drink. It was horrible. So it was too strong because I don't drink. And I gave him my drink and he drank both of them. And I was laughing my butt off. But yeah, that energy in those darker places, it's like, I don't, no. I'm like, let's go. Let's get out of here.
I have no desire to do that. We actually have old streets of Detroit here in downtown Detroit area, and that's where I grew up. And they're literally full streets, and they've got still shops up in them. And, you know, they've cleaned them up and stuff, but you can go walk, and Detroit, the city of Detroit as it stands in 2023, is above it. Yeah. I went in it once when I was in my teens, and I was like, yep, nope, can't go there again, because it's just so much energy, and it's not all good energy. Like you said, you know, but I'm still a firm believer, if they're assholes in life, they can still be assholes in death.
That's right. That's right.
It depends, you know, what they want to be or what they want to do.
What they want to do, exactly.
Or even
their choice.
Yep. Even how they died could keep them stuck in a place, like murdered people. That happens. Now, I've actually been around 2 people in my life that were murdered. One of them I knew who murdered them and was close to our family. My daughter actually went down and stayed with him and the girl he was with, and he was never showed that side to us. And he left and he went down to Texas and he murdered. I mean, he butchered him. He's in prison. He'll never get out. And my daughter and I just looked at each other like, holy crap. So I look at those kind of energies. I don't want to involve myself with those kind of. I got enough stuff in real life. I don't need to pull up bad stuff. I just don't. That would be exhausting. Yeah.
It would be very exhausting dealing with the negative all the time. That's why I don't understand negative people. Those people that we know in life that they're always looking at what's wrong and never even looking at what's right or what's positive in their life. They're always looking not only in their own life, but in everyone else's life. They want to find that misery.
Yeah, and it's like they don't want to take responsibility for it.
No. It's the world against them, and everything's wrong, and everything's miserable. Nothing will ever be okay. Oh, God, that's exhausting.
Yeah, and if you keep putting that out, like,
why even live this life if that's your outlook, if that's what you're going to do with it? That is pointless.
It's just, it's a lot some days, and I don't know. I actually had a dream last week, towards the end of the week, that some people I had known, distant family members, had passed, because they all showed up in my dream, and I was like, that's kind of weird. So I actually, and they were, I didn't know, they died. One died this year and one died last year.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But again, we get things, we meditate with things, and there's reasons we see things that we need to see, and I just am not looking for negative. I actually think these people that are like Keza and Tyler Henry, and even
oh Lord, yeah, Ruth wants to talk about being an empath next week. That's a good one, actually. It can be confusing and hard to deal with.
Yeah, a lot. And if you don't know some people that don't realize that they have that, it's really hard. And that's what I'm saying. Even these people that do this like every day for different shows, or they go reading to different places day after day after day, I cannot and would not want to deal with having to recharge myself every single day.
No, me neither.
Hundreds of people sitting and giving reads or whatever. Because
my ex-father-in-law used to do that. He would spend 12 hours a day doing readings sometimes. And he had a lady that booked appointments for him down in Alabama, and he would drive down there ever so often, like once a month, and he would spend that whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 12 hours or more a day, one back to back. And like, I don't know how he did it. It's exhausting.
Yeah, it is. It's exhausting. It's draining. And, I understand. And like you do and I do both. We do things for people for free. I stream. And actually, Sean and Bex asked me to do another couple days this week because they're on vacation. And it's difficult because even those short one card type things, and that's not how I read in a personal reading, but they take time and energy, and it's interesting because I know people come back to you too, because we connect and we give them stuff and they're like, how did you know that? And it's like, well, we're kind of connecting. And it's like,
yeah,
how did you know that? And it's like, yeah, maybe it's a 5-minute read, but I'm going to tap into whatever. And that's exhausting. I used, like the other day, I think I did an hour and a half because I got on earlier and I was just pumped with energy, and it just drains you by the end of the, and that's it. I'm done. See you guys. See you next week. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you have to and then you have to do almost like the meditation to clear yourself out to bring that energy back.
Yeah.
I just, no, thanks.
It's exhausting. It is. And before you even go into the reading, you have to spiritually, mentally, and emotionally prepare yourself for what you're about to have to go through.
Yeah.
And then, you channel and you do the reading as you're talking to the person, and things are coming in through you like an antenna.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like, what I really like though, I really enjoy doing is when you have more than one person that reads and you're in a collective group giving reads together, like one take one, another one, or 2 or 3 of y'all give their opinion or whatever. The energy we support, it supports each other. And somebody asked me that the other day. They go, it's really weird because when we were in class and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, because you're pulling off of everybody's energy.
Right.
And we all do something very similar to each other. So it amps it up. That's what always happened when I would work with Lizzie on the radio. And it's like you're sitting there and it's like, yeah, you got to say it, because if you don't say it, they're going to be driving you nuts.
It's kind of like Ghostbusters, when you're crossing streams or you're combining your streams together. So it is super more intense.
That's where I get back into the EEG. I would really like to set like 3 or 4 of us into a room with an EEG head thing that's stuck to the back of our skull to really see what happens when you work with people like that. To me, that's just fascinating.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I had it done when I was in high school. I was a senior, and I actually had from one of the colleges that was doing like a parapsychology class. So they were talking to people like they used to do with the government, when you brought in all the psychics and stuff to help them find things. People are like, oh, that's not true. Oh, yeah, it was true. And they took me, and that's what they did. They gave me tests. Like, they'd go in the other room, and I'd have to sit in a room by myself, blind, and they'd click a button, and a light would come up, like a green light, and it was like, okay. Then I would answer them where they would hear me, but I wouldn't hear them.
Yeah.
And they were fascinated by that. And I just wish there was more of that available that you could go out and do. I would just love to do that. Hi, Joyce.
We're in our head. Oh, it's just a fun place to be, Joyce. We get to dance and play with the fairies there.
That was not funny. That was uncalled for, Holly.
That was hilarious. I love it.
It was uncalled for. I'll send my friends over to your place.
Making my face hurt. Oh.
I'll send my friends over to your place. I'll just tell them to jump on the pipeline out in front of my house. See how you like to visit with those people.
Oh gosh. Anytime I can bring my little friends into it, I'm going to bring my friends into it. They love you, Bear.
Yeah, I know. I love all of them. I love you. If I didn't, I guess I wouldn't be here. All right, well, we're at an hour, and I'm going to have to say let's go because I know your mouth and your jaw are hurting.
Yeah.
So thanks, everybody, for being here while we're kind of just yakking about everything, and that's what we like to do.
Next week, we'll be talking about being an empath.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. And I like the, to me, I don't like labels, but there is a distinction out there. And I just, that. And, what I actually saw again, somebody posted, and I was like, are you serious? They paid for a class with Doreen Virtue. This is back a number of years ago, but this is on their CV. Like, I worked with Doreen Virtue, and it's like, no, you took a class that she offered for her deck of cards that you still don't know how to use. And I'm just looking and I'm thinking, wow, that's really crazy. So yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of lingo, I guess would be the word to use, that people refer. I just don't like labels. So it is what it is. People say, well, are you an empath? I guess, yeah, I guess I can tell what people feel, So yeah, that'll be a good one. Thanks, Ruth. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, till next week, I hope y'all have a great rest of the week.
I can't wait for next week. I'm ready to go. Let's do it now.
All right. All right. I love you. See you guys. See you next week. Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone. Bye.